Alright guys, today I wanted to make a video about the Champions League and who I think will win it this season. So I've basically made a short list of teams that I think have any sort of chance of winning it, um, and put the odds on them winning it from Sky Bet, not sponsored. So the favourites, we'll just crack through them one by one. Man City favourites, they're the favourites most years, and the odds are 9 to 4. And I can definitely see them winning it. You can see them winning it every year under Pep Guardiola, to be honest. The quality of their starting 11 now is a joke, and if they do fail to win it under Pep Guardiola, like by the time he leaves, I mean, it would be one of the biggest underachievements in football, full stop, I think. Um, so, yeah, they've got quality in every position now. Haaland up front, Foden, Grealish, Mahrez, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Gundogan all in midfield, Rodri in the holding role, and a defence consisting of Ruben Diaz. Yeah, like loads of brilliant players. So they can definitely win it. PSG under Christophe Galtier this year have got to a really good start, and um, as a sort of a fan of Neymar, I've quite enjoyed seeing him back to his best this year. He's had a superb start to the season, and Messi and Mbappe have also played very well to begin with as well. Yeah, you've probably noticed that I'm filming this in a slightly different area today, because I'm sort of doing out my room. But yeah, back to the video. PSG, yeah. But the one thing I'm thinking they might lack is in midfield. I'm not entirely sure they've got enough to go as far as winning the Champions League. Like they've got two good win backs in Nuno Mendes and Ashraf Hakimi, and a decent defence as well with Marquinhos, Kimpembe, and also Sergio Ramos. But the midfield of Vitinha and who else plays for midfield? Verratti. I'm not entirely sure, especially with Verratti's fitness problems, that midfield is a Champions League winning midfield, if I'm completely honest. Then at 5 to 1 odds, we've got Bayern Munich. Now, Bayern are going to be favourites pretty much every year. I think now it is something like 13 or 14 years in a row they've reached the knockout stages of the Champions League, which I mean is an incredible achievement. I'm just looking at all the teams down this list, and I think the only other team who can really say that is Real Madrid. So yeah, it's an incredible achievement. And yeah, they've got off to a decent start in the Bundesliga this season. They've got a bit of a change up front with Sadio Mane coming in and Robert Lewandowski leaving. So that could it could be a slight problem in the goal scoring area, because Mane is at most going to be a 30 goal a season striker for Bayern Munich, whereas Robert Lewandowski, he could hit 50 goals a season for Bayern, so they might lose a few goals there. But I also think Mane, what you lose in goal scoring, you also get something in work off the ball. I think he's a very hard presser, and in games like against Manchester City or in the games later on in the Champions League, I think that's probably a bonus, if anything, because Mane can definitely be a big game player. He showed that at Liverpool, putting in some splendid performances in the Champions League in the knockout rounds, especially against Bayern Munich and also against Barcelona. Just racking my brain here trying to think of games where he played well. Last season he had good games against Villarreal as well as Roma a few years ago as well, Man City in the Champions League a few years ago, Porto he scored a hat-trick against. So yeah, he's definitely capable of doing the business for Bayern Munich, especially with players around him like Serge Gnabry, Leroy Sané and Thomas Müller, as well as Jamal Musiala. So yeah, but Bayern, if we're going 11 through starting 11s where there's absolutely no weaknesses, I'd say they're in with a very good shout. Defensively, they might not be as strong as they are in attack. They've signed Matthijs de Ligt over the summer, who's a very good defender. It's a very young defence, is what I'm trying to say. They've got Dayot Upamecano playing as well, and fullbacks Benjamin Pavard and Lucas Hernandez. So yeah, it's a very inexperienced defence, but you know, maybe they'll come good. I say it's a very inexperienced defence. It's not completely inexperienced. It's just very young. That was the wrong choice of word from me. But yeah, they could definitely go far. Liverpool at 8-1, fourth from the top. They reached the final last year, but so far this season they haven't been performing well. Now, a lot of people have said, "Are Liverpool in crisis?" As a Liverpool fan who watches every single game, I would say we're not in crisis personally. I would say it's just we are having to play with a midfield that is not suited to the way we play. So our current midfield this season so far has been mostly Elliott, Fabinho, and maybe James Milner. So Milner is 37 in January, I believe. So that's just, you know, if he can do 20-minute spells like off the bench at the end of games, that's what you need him for. You don't need him starting 90 and playing 90 minutes like he has been. Whereas Harvey Elliott is someone he's been one of Liverpool's best players so far this season. But the problem with him is the position he plays. He doesn't exactly suit our system with Trent Alexander-Arnold behind him, because what Alexander-Arnold needs behind him is what he needs to play with, is Jordan Henderson, who can sit in deep when Trent goes forward and give him some cover. But Elliott doesn't really do that. What Elliott needs is a defender who's willing to sit behind him and just like let him get on with the attacking work. So it's almost too attack minded on the right hand side for Liverpool at the moment. But yeah, when they get Henderson, Thiago, and a few other midfielders back, then I think we'll start to see Liverpool get a bit of a decent run and form this season. But I don't think Liverpool will win the Champions League this season. I think also there's a little bit of burnout from the amount of games that Liverpool played last season. And then at 9-1, we've got last season's winners, Real Madrid. They've also won, I believe, something like 4 of the last 6 Champions Leagues, I think I'm right in saying, or maybe 4 of the last 7. So yeah, they've won a lot recently. Now, Real Madrid at some time or another are going to go through they've already started to go through it over the past few years, I guess, but a period of change where they are going to have to sort of change that midfield three of Modric, Casemiro, and Kroos. And yeah, they've signed 2 players who are looking like certain replacements in Aurelien Tchouameni and Eduardo Camavinga. They've also got Fede Valverde, who's absolutely on fire at the moment, but currently plays on the right of a front three. Not his most suited position, but he's still playing well there. So you'd think he would be the 3rd central midfield member eventually. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that midfield does. Obviously, they've still got Toni Kroos and Luka Modric, but you would think that over the next few years we're definitely going to see Modric phased out, and also I think Toni Kroos' contract's up at the end of the season, so it might not be very long until we do see Real Madrid's midfield completely changed. Up front, they've got Vinicius and Benzema, as well as Valverde currently, who obviously did the business last season, and you'd expect them to do it again. Vinicius is continuing his good form from last season so far this season. Also made a good addition. I went through pretty much all the maths formulas then. Addition in defence of Antonio Rudiger this season. So that gives a little bit more options, I guess. With last season, they sort of just had Eder Militao and David Alaba as their main defensive options, and they were the only 2 you felt who would be good enough to play in like big Champions League games. So they're in with a shout still as always. Barcelona at 11-1. Now Barcelona, I think they're getting better. They're not as bad as they were a couple of years ago, I don't think. But I still don't see them quite winning it this year. Like, obviously they've added the goals of Robert Lewandowski, the creativity of Rafinha, a few defensive options in Jules Koundé, Andreas Christensen, and Marcos Alonso, as well as Frank Kessie in midfield. But I still don't think they have enough. I think they've got a very good team, but it's just not quite at the level. And there's a lot of young players in this Barcelona team: Ronaldo, Araujo, Gavi, Pedri, and quite a few others, Ansu Fati as well. Ousmane Dembele's looking very good at the moment. He has been this entire calendar year so far, but you never know with him when injuries will kick in, so that'll be a bit of a worry for them going on. But also, as well as a lot of young players, they've also got quite a lot of ageing players as well, with the likes of Jordi Alba, Gerard Piqué, and who else have they got? Sergio Busquets as well. So that could be a bit of a worry. They haven't really got a side that are of like players that are at their sort of peak age. The only players I can think of are Rafinha, Frank Kessie, Koundé's still quite young, but I guess you could sort of force him into that category, and maybe ter Stegen in goal as well. So yeah, I can't see them winning it. Spurs at 14-1 now. I think Spurs could potentially be a bit of a dark horse this year, because they've got one thing they've got is defensive solidity. Even though they haven't got the most biggest names in defence ever, like they currently play like a back five of Emerson that consists of Emerson Royale, Eric Dyer, and Ben Davies. That's not the most I don't know, superstar sounding defensive line ever, is it really? And they've got an ageing Hugo Lloris in goal, but they are a side under Antonio Conte that know how to get results in big games. That is 100% certain. And also with the attacking ability of Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, Dejan Kulusevski, and Richarlison, that's a lot of threat as well. The only thing I would really suggest is if they do come up against a team that does sit low block like an Atletico Madrid, they might struggle because of the lack of space in behind that Heung-min Son thrives on with balls from Harry Kane. So that could be a slight problem, but with the addition of Richarlison this season, maybe they can find a way through that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Spurs do. And finally on my list now, this is a real wild card shout. I've got Chelsea at 20-1. I can't see Chelsea winning it this year because they've obviously just sacked their manager for Graham Potter. However, the last time they did win the Champions League, and no, both times they've won the Champions League, they did get a new manager partway through that season. So maybe that does say something. But Graham Potter coming in, this is a completely new situation to Graham Potter, because Graham Potter has done a good job at pretty much all three teams he's managed, whether it be Östersunds in Sweden, Swansea in the Championship, or Brighton in the Premier League. But then none of them teams are a team that consist of superstars like Raheem Sterling, Kalidou Koulibaly, Jorginho, N'Golo Kante, Reece James, Mason Mount, like Kai Havertz, Edouard Mendy, all these players. So it'll be interesting to see how he deals with that. But yeah, I just cannot see them winning it. Right, so now I'm just going to pick the team who I think is going to win it this season. And just looking at it, Bayern for me, I think they're a very good all-round side, but I just think we might see, because all it takes is one game, and that could be the end of it. So their very young defence, I think, might just not be enough. Liverpool, I don't think will win it, because I just think they've got so many injury problems right now. I expect them to get through the group stage, but I just think like, especially with the World Cup, and a lot of players will be playing at that World Cup for Liverpool. They might suffer from, like, the amount of games they've played over the past 18 months or so. Man City, definitely they're up there. PSG, again, it's similar to Bayern. Like, it only takes one game and you're out of it. Real Madrid, yeah, I can definitely see Real Madrid doing it again, and the three others, Barca, Spurs, and Chelsea. I think it would take something big for them to do. So I'm gonna have to go for Man City. I probably said it every year on these types of videos, but yeah, I think they're the favourites, and also that they've just got so much depth, so much quality, and yeah, I just can't see anyone else winning it, to be completely honest. But anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.